Hey, I want to jump on real quick because I just left from recording. I just shot Selected for Suffering Part Two, and I feel good. I feel good about it. I was a little. I mean, there's always things I think about afterwards where I feel like I could have done better, but I feel good about it, and I think God can use it. But here's an update. Um, Yeah, I feel like God can use it. And that's funny because it goes back to one of the examples I gave in the message, like that God can use, He can even use broken things. So I don't have to be perfect. We don't have to be perfect for God to use us. All He has to work with, like my mentor said, if you think about it, all God has to work with is broken vessels anyway. That that's you got to wait for that because that's in the message. But anyway, yeah. Also, this is an update. Yeah. Selected for Suffering Part Two. I just shot. I'm going to reshoot Selected for Suffering Part One. I don't want to like delay it. I don't want to like wait because I think these are like important messages. But after shooting Part Two and how I feel after it, uh, the way I felt, like just to keep it above, the way I felt after Part One was I did not feel good. I didn't even sleep good that night, and I texted my producer, slash director slash editor slash he's all that. I texted him and I was like, can we shoot it again? Because I didn't feel good about it. Not because I want to be perfect or anything like that. I just feel like um this message is too important of a message for me to not for me to um you know for me to do it in a certain way. I think I could have done it better. And that's all it is I could have done better, and I want to do better with something as important as a message like this. So yeah, so I don't want to like keep like pushing it back and delaying the release of it. But so what the plan is now, I'm going to reshoot. Selected for Suffering Part Two is done and shot, recorded, right? I'll look back at it. I think it's good. I feel good about it. My producer feels he felt like it was good too. So Part One, I'm going to reshoot next Friday or Saturday. I'm going to reshoot that, and then hopefully we'll have it. I'll have it out as soon as I can. But yeah, man. Like I'm excited. I'm excited about this year because, like like I told you, we're gonna be doing suffering most of the year, and I got some. And man, we're gonna get into some good stuff. But since I'm delaying, the release of it, I want to get into like giving you some samples, some freebies before, a little something to hold you over. And it's some good stuff. I can't give you the biggest points because then if I give it to you all, it won't have the same impact when you watch it. And, it'll ruin your appetite. It'll ruin your appetite. Um, and I just don't want to give away too much. And a lot of people don't go back and watch them anyway. I want you to actually watch the content. So, but I can give you some. I can give you some goodies. So I've already released this part. This in another message. I said in part one, the Selected for Suffering part one. I said that we're not all children of God. It's a common misconception that we're all God's children. No, no, we're not. We're all His creation, but not His children. Read Romans chapter 8 for confirmation on that to prove it. All right, so I gave that already, so that's not a reveal. I can give you another one. And this is a good. This is not. It's not the main point, but it was one of them ones, right? It was one of them ones. Um, so we don't always have the best. I shouldn't even be giving you this. Oh man, but all right. Anyway, but still, make sure you go back and watch it. Right? You go watch Selected for Suffering Part One and Part Two. Watch all of them when I release them, and subscribe to the channel, Son of David Messages, on YouTube, and follow me on all the social media. Follow, like, subscribe, do all that, and so you can be notified when I release it. But anyway, um, so we're not. So we don't always have the best. Um, the best idea, or we're not the best judges of good and bad, right? We're not supposed to have that knowledge. That's why God told Adam and Eve, don't eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. We don't. We're not. We're not qualified to judge a thing good or bad. Why? Because we're in it. You know, we don't have the perspective to be out of it, to see out of it. So we misjudge a thing, a person, a situation as either good or bad, based on where we are at the moment. But we don't see the whole scope, right? You know, you can't. I might as well give it to you. You can't judge a book by a few pages, right? Like, you know, a few chapters in a book is bad, bad chapters. That doesn't make the whole book bad, right? We live life one day at a time, and we can't skip past the chapters of life, right? So when we hit a rough season, we label it immediately. Oh, this is bad. I'm going through something bad, something terrible. But we're not the best judge of it because we can't see the whole scope of the thing, right? Like God sees a thing. He's the author and the finisher. So he knows the end from the beginning. He's best qualified. That's why we're not to judge, right? Because he is best qualified. He has that point of view to see the whole scope of a thing, of a person, to see the deeper parts of a person, the heart of a person, to know, okay, good, to label good and bad. All right, and that's all I'm giving you. I gave you too much. I hope you still watch it, because I go into detail. And remember what we're talking about, though, suffering. We're talking about suffering. All right, so now I guess I can give you a little something from part 2, Selected for Suffering part 2. It's some good stuff. It is. It's going to help. I really think it's going to help you. I think it's going to help. It's helped me, you know, and that's where all of this is birthed out of. Is that it's helped me in my life, in my suffering, right? God revealed some things to me, and we'll get into that later in the year. I'll end the year with how I came to all of this. This teaching, you know, on suffering, and how I, you know, my own personal suffering. But all right, so what can I give you? Let me see. From Selected for Suffering part 2, we're talking about value. We're talking about worth. We're talking about hidden value. I'm going into, and I'll give you a piece. We're going into how it seems, our suffering seems a certain way to us, but it looks different to God, right? And God treats His children differently. God treats His children differently, right? And sometimes sometimes God has to reveal us to us. Sometimes we don't know who we truly are, right? We don't know what we're truly made of. And sometimes God God knows, right? Man looks on the outward appearance, but God looks on the heart, at the core of a thing, right? So is that enough? I think that's good. I think that's some good. So a good little sample. Yeah, I'm excited about it, man. And then part 3, we're gonna get Selected for Suffering. Part 3, we're gonna get into the timeline of suffering. Compare that to the timeline of not suffering. It's all good stuff. And after we get out of Selected for Suffering, I'll do case studies where we're gonna do deep dives into certain people in the Bible, and I'm gonna prove all the stuff that I'm teaching in Selected for Suffering. I'm gonna prove all that through case studies, what I call case studies of certain people in the Bible. So we're gonna do Joseph. We got to do Ruth. We got to get to Job. Job is gonna be that one. Wait till we get to Job. I'm telling you. Job has taught me more about suffering than, um, besides Jesus. Yeah, of course we're going to get to Jesus, the ultimate sufferer, right? I'm excited about this year. Um, yeah, I'm excited. I think this will help you. I think this will be teaching that's so core, so fundamental, and so impactful that it's not something you easily forget. Something that it's going to be something that rings in your ear and resonates in your heart. And that's what I want. I want you to have something to be thinking about when you by yourself. Like when you're not around people and it's just you and God. I want you to be processing some things about God. I want that to sit in your heart and be like, man, I thought I knew. I had questions. I thought God was a certain way in my suffering, and now I see differently. That's what I want. Um, yeah, so I'm excited about it. And I think it would be helpful in your own life when you run into suffering or with the suffering that you've gone through, and help us to understand why some of us suffer. And in part two specifically, I talk about why we're selected for stuff, like why we suffer from specific things, right? Because we all keep it a stack. Like we all suffer. Everybody. It rains. Look at it raining. It raining right now, raining on the just and the unjust. Right, it rains on the righteous and the unrighteous. That doesn't, like, it's everybody suffers. Like, this is a broken world, right? We all suffer. um the difference is having Jesus as your umbrella on those rainy days, having him as your covering. That's a difference, right? That's the difference maker. Um, and yeah, so like I said, we all suffer, but some of us are selected for specific sufferings, right? And why is that? That's what I'm answering in part two. I'm not answering, like I said, I'm not acting like I have all the answers. I'm just sharing with you what God shared with me, and I back it up with scripture. Um, why are certain individuals, like, unusually, like, they seem like they suffer unusually, like a great deal of suffering. My mother was one of those types of people. Some people just and some people are like they seem like they just suffer a lot. And I get into that, right? We're gonna revisit all of that. Like I said, there's a plan. I have a plan this year, and it's going to be a lot of it. It has a lot to do with suffering, but I'm excited for it. You should be excited for it. You should stay tuned and watch it and share the content. I'll do other messages in between. In between these messages, I'll do I'm gonna get into, like, Satan. Who is Satan? Who is Lucifer? On what is his tactics? How do we fight him? I'll do a message on that. I'll do a message on considering the cost of, it's actually called Consider the Cost. I'm going to get into that. So I'm going to sprinkle in some other messages, and I'll do stuff like this. Like, I'll just, just to keep me uh keep myself sharp and to get some of these this other stuff off my plate. I feel, because I get loaded with word, and loaded with word that I feel like I should share. But not all of it is full messages. Some of it is just quick stuff I want to get off. And the way that my mind works, I process stuff a lot. So the more I retain it, the more it's like it combats with other things, right? So I want to release it and get it out. So that's why I'll be doing more messages like this. So we'll get into some other stuff. It won't be all suffering, but the main message this year will be selected for suffering, and then the backup, the case studies for it. So I'm excited for it. You should share it with somebody who you feel like would really need it. Share it with someone who you think would benefit from hearing the content. And I sure do appreciate you. Check out my Bucky Cup. Bucky made an appearance. He made an appearance, and then in Selected for Suffering Part 2. Y'all gonna see Bucky. So yeah. Ethan was shocked. He was. I was telling him about our little stories from Bucky's. I just got put on to Bucky like last year, so but it's an amazing place. Anyway, yeah, that's it.